medical management, with the military officer now asymptomatic. The military official had a history of foreign travel. Meanwhile, the AFP is undertaking measures to protect its personnel from the virus, particularly those still working in Camp Aguinaldo. Santos said additional thermal scanners and qualified personnel were made available to hasten the process of scanning temperatures. Over at the NCRPO, Director Debold Sinas confirms that a police officer from the Manila Police District also tested positive for COVID-19. Sinas says he has already ordered the MPD to disinfect the entire station where the patient was assigned, while all his colleagues will undergo quarantine for 14 days. The NCRPO is also conducting a contact tracing to find other people who have made contact with the patient. News abroad, Iceland found that around half of their COVID-19 patients are asymptomatic or are showing no symptoms of the coronavirus. This begs the question, could there be more so-called silent spreaders of the disease than we initially thought? Let's get more details from this report by Bloomberg Quick Take. And the president is currently online and broadcasting his address for the nation. Let's turn it over to him.
Lang ang pagtingin ko sa inyo. To be able to enable officials and staff of the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases, thank you for staying on top of the situation. To the brave men and women of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police, thank you as well for ensuring peace and order in these trying times. I also thank the rest of the frontliners to ensure that the basic services are provided to our people, from those manning various government agencies, groceries, banks, food, establishments, and delivery services, among others. Maraming salamat po. To the gracious members of the private sector who are foregoing profit to alleviate the suffering of our people, to the valiant volunteers who are bravely supplementing our frontliners, to the noble civil society organizations who are working tirelessly in calling for donations and performing charity work, thank you very much for your kindness, compassion, and generosity. I especially thank Congress for granting the Executive Department with special powers through the Bayanihan to head as one act, to the Bayanihan to heal as one act, to effectively respond to the challenges caused by the COVID-19 global pandemic. I particularly thank Senate President Vicente Soto III and the House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano for the strong and decisive leadership you have demonstrated in shepherding this measure to fruition during this critical time in our national history. To the members of both houses of Congress who sponsored and voted for this measure, I express my sincerest gratitude to all of you for granting our most urgent requests. Finally, the executive department can move, decide, and act freely for the best interest of the Filipino people during this health crisis. The Department of National Defense and the Department of Interior and Local Government, along with the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police, are now ramping up the implementation of the National Action Plan, or NAP, as we speak, to reinforce the efforts of the Department of Health in containing COVID-19. Alam mo, tatlo lang yun sila. Department of National Defense, Department of Health, Department of yung kay Rowley, DSWD, and the DILG. One of the most important departments that are now in action. Reports on our progress of the National Action Plan will be given regularly by the Secretary of National Defense, serving as the National Action Plan Chair, with the Secretary of Interior and Local Government as Vice Chair. To the Filipino people, rest assured that your entire government is working hand in hand to safeguard your health, safety, and well-being in the face of threat posed by COVID-19. We will address all the different issues brought about by this pandemic, as well as ensure the protection of all our people, especially those who are serving in the front lines. Supplies of food, water, and other essentials will be provided to you throughout this ordeal. Financial assistance will also be extended, especially to those in the margins and the vulnerable groups. Halos lahat ho makatanggap. Hindi naman lahat yung kagaya ni Bongo. Hindi naman niya tanggapin yan. Gagawin namin ang lahat. Hindi namin kayo pababayan. I now call on every Filipino to participate in this war by following the guidelines and set the national government and your local officials. Nothing is more important than your cooperation. I repeat, stay home, huwag matigas ang ulo. The outcome of this war depends largely on you as well. I also call on relevant agencies to ensure the speedy delivery of basic medical supplies and equipments to health facilities. From the approval, importation, and to delivery, everything must go smoothly to make sure that we do not waste time. Alam mo, isang bagay talaga na alam ng lahat is itong padili-dali, patamad-tamaran. Kailangan pagpasok ng papel, process mo kagad, ilinya mo you line up the tables where the paper should go, one after the other, para madali. Cut red tapes. I do not want red tapes. I do not want so many questions. Pagka sinertify ng isang government employee, I said, do not commit the mistake and we will all be happy and comfortable. Huwag ninyong, kung gusto ninyo magloko, huwag ninyo itong panahon na ito. To my fellow public servants, let us set aside our differences and work in solidarity to overcome this pandemic. We only have one common enemy, and that is COVID-19. Our transparency, integrity, accountability, and responsiveness are needed, and I expect all of you to exercise all these in safeguarding our fellow Filipinos. As President, I assure the public that the government will be on top of this situation at all times. We will not leave anyone behind. Sabay-sabay natin labanan ang COVID-19 para sa kabutihan ng lahat. I ask the entire country for your patience, understanding, and utmost cooperation. With your support, I am confident that we will emerge triumphant. Nothing is more formidable and resilient than the Filipino spirit. Matindi ang kalaban, but we will not surrender. Hindi tayo susuko, tayo ay lalaban. Yes, things will not be easy. And we Filipinos are tough. Mas malakas ang Pilipino sa anumang hamon. Now we all must do what we can and must para sa ating bayan. I look forward to the day that we, the Filipinos, can finally claim victory over this war and emerge as stronger and more united Filipinos and Philippines. Maraming salamat po. Osbo nako, ayaw mo kahadlok. Tagalogin ko, huwag kayong matakot. Nandito yung gobyerno ninyo para kayo pagsilbihan at totoong pagsilbihan. Salamat.
Okay, a brief message from the President televised nationwide with an assurance that government is working to safeguard the health of Filipinos, as well an assurance that supplies, water, essentials will be given by government to the vulnerable. Halos daw lahat makakatanggap. But also an appeal to everybody to follow the guidelines being issued by the government. The President says the government needs the public's cooperation, so stay home. The outcome of the war depends on your cooperation. Again, the President assured the public that the government will deliver the basic goods and services, and he also called on government officials and employees to make sure that they cut red tape and deliver services to the needy. Also an assurance from the government that they will be on top of the situation and will not leave anybody behind. And a reminder that it will not be an easy coming days or weeks, but that the country and the Filipino is tough. Kaya ang sabi ng Pangulo, huwag daw kayo matakot dahil nandito raw ang gobyerno. And also the President expressed his gratitude to a host of groups, including the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Diseases, the AFP, the PNP, the frontliners in the health emergency, the private sector, at least those who have chosen to forego their profits, volunteers, civil society organizations, and members of Congress who have given him special powers in hopes of addressing the issue. So that's what we have from the President's around 10-minute address to the nation just a few minutes ago. That's the latest on the enhanced and expanded community quarantine in Luzon. For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World Online. I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News.